welcome everyone to the IBWC Citizens Forum. I'm Brenda Barnes and I'm co-chairing tonight, and I would like for the rest of the board members who are here to introduce themselves real briefly. Katie, we'll start with you.
Hi everybody, I'm Katie Kruthop with the New Mexico Department of Agriculture.
I'm Sidney Webb. I'm a member of the Citizens Forum and I represent Mesilla Valley Audubon Society.
Anyone in the Zoom meeting who is on the board, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Yes, I'm Sal Masood with Del Rio Engineering, and also on behalf of the El Paso Association of Builders.
Aaron? Aaron Ward, would you like to introduce yourself?
It appears that they're muted.
Okay, I think I unmuted myself. Did it work?
That's great.
Okay, I'm Erin Ward, formerly with the New Mexico Water Resources Research Institute, located at NMSU.
And I see additional people in the audience, but is anyone else on the board? Okay, no other board members. Would you all like to also introduce yourselves if you're a member of the public?
Yes, I'm Woody Irving with the Bureau of Reclamation in El Paso.
Hello, this is Parinir Unikrishna. I'm with the U.S. International Boundary and Water Commission, El Paso.
Thank you.
Good evening, this is Genevieve Allen. I'm a project manager with the Bureau of Reclamation in Albuquerque.
Thank you. Natasha?
Hi, my name is Natasha Scully. I'm a grant writer and researcher with Hollis Rutledge and Associates out of the Rio Grande Valley.
Thank you. Gilberto?
Hi, everybody. This is Beto Torres Vela from the U.S. Consulate in Ciudad Juarez, Economic Officer.
Thank you. Kevin?
I'm Kevin Floyd with El Paso Audubon and El Paso Native Plant Society.
And great. Sumner, do you introduce yourself?
Not typically, but happy to. My name is Sumner. I've been working to help coordinate this, and really glad you guys are all here in attendance, and I look forward to hearing these discussions. Thank you.
Thank you. And the other gentlemen from the IBWC that are down the row down there, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hello, I'm David Duran, Area Operations Manager for the Upper Rio Grande Field Office, IBWC.
Thank you.
David Madrid, I'm the General Operations Supervisor for the American Dam Field Office in El Paso, Texas.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mario Castro. I'm the Occupational Safety and Health Manager for the International Boundary and Water Commission.
Awesome, thank you. And that's everyone here. Not a big crowd tonight, unfortunately. Okay, Frank Fisher is he available to give the opening remarks?
No, Mr. Fisher's still stuck in traffic.
Stuck in traffic. Okay. All right, then. I guess we'll just jump right into the first presentation unless someone has anything else to add right quick. Very good. Okay, so I'm going to introduce Genevieve. She briefly introduced herself as a project manager in the Bureau of Reclamation's Albuquerque office. She's the project manager for the Rio Grande Project Drought Resilience Team. The title, oh no, 16, XVI 16 coordinator for the office and a hydrologic modeler. Prior to this, she worked in the Reclamation's Lower Colorado Basin region as a hydrogeologist, involved in operations in hydrologic modeling of Colorado River wet reservoirs. And she looks forward to continuing to work with stakeholders in the Rio Grande project area to build resilience in the water supply. Genevieve, your turn.
Thanks for the introduction. Can you hear me okay?
Perfectly.
Okay, I will try to share my screen. All right, is that showing up?
Looks good.
Okay, perfect. Move this. All right, great. Well, thanks so much for that introduction. I don't think this will take the entire amount of time that was allotted for the presentation. But as was mentioned, I'm the project manager for the Rio Grande Project Area Drought Resilience Team. And I was hoping to give an overview today about this team, some of its ongoing efforts, as well as some Water Smart funding opportunities that will be available soon. All right, so here's a map showing the Rio Grande project, which IBWC refers to as the Upper Rio Grande, and I think the state of New Mexico refers to it as the Lower Rio Grande. But we define it as starting at San Marcial Gauging Station in New Mexico and terminating at Fort Quitman Gauging Station in Texas. The Rio Grande Project Area Drought Resilience Team, you'll also hear me refer to it as DRT, began as the Adjunct Infrastructure Committee in 2022 out of an effort to find proactive solutions to build resilience in Rio Grande water supply due to the ongoing drought in the project area, overpumping of groundwater, and unpredictable monsoon flooding. The overall objectives of this multi-agency technical team are to build resilience in the project water supply, improve project management, enhance habitat, explore water conservation opportunities, allow for information sharing between government agencies and project water users, and explore joint funding opportunities. And on this slide, I have a picture of a field trip to EBID of some of the members of the team. So we're still working on finishing up our agency reviews of our draft charter. So this is not a comprehensive list necessarily of all the member entities. But on this slide, I'm showing most of the folks that have been pretty active in the team. On the federal side, we have the Bureau of Reclamation, the NRCS, and the USIBWC. At the state level, we have the Interstate Stream Commission and the Office of the State Engineer. And at the local level, we have the City of Las Cruces, El Paso County Water Improvement District, and the Elephant Butte Irrigation District. And I'll just mention that this is a pretty dynamic group, and the membership is really dependent on the kinds of projects that are being engaged with in the area. And the group is open to new governmental agencies that have a vested interest in the area. And on this slide, I've listed some of the projects that we intend to undertake in order to accomplish the objectives that I listed earlier. Some of these categories of projects include small storage opportunities, sediment dam enhancements for stormwater capture, brackish groundwater development and desalination, water importation, and water conservation. And we especially want to focus on projects that encompass multi-objective benefits. I've also added some images showing the extremes of drought and monsoon season in the area. On the top, I have a picture of Elephant Butte Reservoir, 15% full. And at the bottom, I have a picture of monsoon flooding in Hatch in 2006. So these are the three main subgroups that have developed out of the main DRT group to focus on specific types and parts of projects. So thus far, this consists of stormwater capture, brackish groundwater development and importation, and ecosystem restoration. Also out of this group, Reclamation has entered into 2 cooperative agreements and 1 contract to help carry out the objectives of the team. The largest award is a cooperative agreement with the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation for supplemental water projects that have environmental and wildlife benefits in the project area. Under this cooperative agreement, we'll work closely with the state of New Mexico and the Elephant Butte Irrigation District, as well as several other critical project partners. And this will be a 5-year agreement. The state of New Mexico is a founding member of the Drought Resilience Team, and we've entered into a cooperative agreement with the Interstate Stream Commission for them to hire water resource professionals to help out with DRT-related projects. And that will be a 5-year agreement as well. And we've also awarded a contract to West Consultants for a brackish aquifer review paper that will assess the existing body of literature about the Hueco Bolson, Tularosa, and Mesilla aquifers. And this is an example of one of the projects that we might be undertaking under the cooperative agreement with the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation. This is one that the Elephant Butte Irrigation District suggested that would result in stormwater capture and off-channel habitat opportunities with the potential to augment the state park nearby. And in addition to the overview of this team, I also wanted to take the opportunity to plug some of our recent WaterSmart funding opportunities. So the first one that is currently out is the Cooperative Watershed Management Program. And this funds projects to help develop a watershed group, complete watershed restoration planning activities, and design watershed management projects. The first application period closes on December 5th of this year, and the second application period closes September next year. There's no cost share required for this award, and it can range from $10,000 to $300,000. The second grant on this slide is for drought resilience projects, and these are intended to increase the reliability of water supplies through infrastructure improvements, groundwater recovery, decision support, modeling and measurements, and the construction of domestic water supply projects for tribes or disadvantaged communities that don't have access to reliable water supplies. This application closes on October 31st. It's a 50-50 cost share. And because of the broad range of projects that could fall under this, the awards can range from $25,000 to $5 million. The last notice of funding that I list is a new program that was implemented this year for aquatic ecosystem restoration projects. This grant is designed to design and construct aquatic ecosystem restoration projects that are collaboratively developed, have widespread regional benefits, and result in the improvement of health to fisheries, wildlife, and aquatic habitat through restoration and improved fish passage. The application period closes January 24th next year, and the cost share is 65% non-federal and 35% federal, with awards ranging from $500,000 to $2 million. And there have also been several water recycling and desalination funding opportunities announced recently. And there's going to be a stakeholder webinar on October 25th at 11 a.m. to discuss the requirements and directions for applying for these opportunities. And they'll be recording this as well and posting it on their website, but it'll be a good opportunity to ask questions of the folks that run the grants program directly. I've also included a link to the WaterSmart program homepage, as well as the funding opportunity calendar. And I added a slightly updated map than the one I originally sent out in the slideshow. So the slide shows the amount of WaterSmart funding that's been awarded to different sections of the basin between 2018 and 2023. So there's the Upper Rio Grande, the San Juan Trauma Project, the Middle Rio Grande, Lower Rio Grande, El Paso, and Pecos. And you'll notice that El Paso has significantly more money awarded than the other sites. And that's partially due to the 20 million Title 16 grants that's gone towards their advanced water purification facility. And I just wanted to mention that there's an unprecedented amount of money right now from Bill and IRA funding these grants, and we're really hoping that our stakeholders will take advantage of them. And that's all that I have. I'll open it up if there's time for questions.
Any questions? Dr. Webb?
And Genevieve, this is only here from USIBWC. I just want to know, do you have any projects along the Rincon Arroyo?
We have some that we're interested in undertaking, but we haven't decided on specific projects under the cooperative agreement with the Fish and Wildlife Foundation yet.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, I have a question. Are there any projects in this immediate area of the Rio Grande along? There was an old project for riparian rehabilitation by the water treatment plant here in Las Cruces. Is there anything like that that's being considered by your group?
We're definitely considering restoration projects. We've, I guess the Sunland Park area is that the area you're talking about?
No, Las Cruces.
In Las Cruces, okay.
Las Cruces area.
We haven't decided on specific sites yet, but we've been working closely with Elephant Butte Irrigation District to kind of determine some of the sites with the greatest need. So that could potentially be a project area.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Anyone on the Zoom meeting?
I had a question. I'm not sure if it's coming through.
Yes, go ahead. Ask the question, please.
Sure. How are the projects that Elephant Butte is, working with you guys on prioritized? I guess I saw that the city of Las Cruces was a listed partner. I'm just curious if it's someone from utilities from the water side, or if it's someone within the, I'm just not sure how the coordination of this works. I'm pretty new to the area.
So you're thinking of the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation cooperative agreement?
I guess that one, or just generally, from what I heard, BLM is working with EBID on what seems to be the projects that would be in the area of Las Cruces and whatever else falls within their scope, I guess. So I just am curious if you guys are working off of a comprehensive plan or a master plan. Again, I've only lived here a few years, so I'm a little bit more familiar with how this stuff goes in, you know, Louisiana, but not as much here.
No, that's a good question. And I should probably make the distinction between the drought resilience team and these cooperative agreements. So having met regularly with this team, we had a kind of an idea of some of the needs for stormwater capture, water conservation, and other drought resilience projects within like the within Las Cruces, EBID's jurisdiction, and all throughout the Rio Grande projects. So knowing that there was that need and knowing some of the kinds of projects we'd be interested in undertaking and the capacity that was available with the governmental agencies and partners in the area, we felt comfortable entering into a cooperative agreement with the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation to take on some of these projects that have been identified. But the actual prioritization under this cooperative agreement will be made by the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation and the Bureau with input from relevant partner agencies. And we really want to prioritize water conservation and wildlife benefit. I'm not sure if that answers your question, but those would be the two main factors in deciding which projects we wanted to undertake.
Water conservation and wildlife habitat?
Yep.
Great, thank you. Will your slides be able to be shared after the meeting?
Yeah, I think I provided a PDF. Is that something that is available?
That is available on the website.
Okay.
We could actually send it out to Amy if you'd like that.
Either is fine, thank you.
All right, thanks. Any other questions? Mr. Torres?
Yes, thank you. Beto Torres from the U.S. Consulate here in Juarez. Just wondering if there's any type of funding for, let's say, for the Mexican side or partners, trying to find partners in Mexico. As you know, like we work or we meet regularly with local authorities and other partners. So just wondering if there's anything available.
So under the cooperative agreements that we have, I think that is limited to just the US side. With the Water Smart program, I also believe that it's just on the US side. I think with the federal funding, it just kind of, at least in our agency's jurisdiction, it's kind of limited to the US.
All right. Any questions from anyone here? All right, Genevieve, thank you very much. Great presentation, and best of luck with the grants.
Appreciate that.
Okay, next up is the USIBWC Sediment Disposal Program by David Duran. Mr. Duran is a civil engineer graduate from the UT El Paso and worked for 10 years in private engineering in El Paso doing construction management. And he spent 2 years at the City of El Paso Environmental Services Division. He started with USIBWC in 2021 out of headquarters, and last year in 2022 was selected as the area operations manager for the Upper Rio Grande Field office. Mr. Duran?
Hi, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Hi, I'm David Duran. I'm the Area Operations Manager for the Upper Rio Grande Field Office at IBWC. I thank everyone for their time. Can you hear me okay? Thank you for your time.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you for your time. This is my first time presenting here at the Rio Grande Citizens Forum, hopefully not the last, and looking forward to creating partnerships and keep working with all of you. The topic I will be presenting to you today will be regarding our sediment disposal program. And it's a pretty important topic since it pertains to the communities adjacent and near the Rio Grande River. Let's go to the next slide right here. And thank you, Felipe. And just to give you a quick introduction, one of our main challenges at the Upper Rio Grande Field Office, which includes Las Cruces, is sediment management, which includes the sediment removal from the river itself, stockpiling efforts, and ultimately disposing of that excess sediment. As you all know, every year we have our water season, and Elephant Butte releases the water, bringing massive amounts of sediment. Every year after water season, our crews go in there and do the critical job of removing that excess sediment. This will decrease the potential for flooding. And as you all know, water is scarce, and we want to make sure that the river's capacity is maintained in order to deliver water downstream to our irrigators and farmers. So this is a very critical mission duties that our crews do at the Upper Rio Grande Field Office. Next slide, please. Just want to touch briefly on the pre-existing program. Was mainly a paper program where the customer or the requester would need to travel to the field office, fill out the paperwork, do a wet signature. And in addition to that, our field offices were with the task of storing and tracking paper, which is not optimum, especially nowadays. Next slide. So we started looking at a program to incorporate getting rid of the paper, incorporating technology, and make it easier for potential customers or sediment requesters to not have to travel to the field offices. For our field offices, the storage and tracking would be much better this way too. So there was a team of IBWC colleagues that got together, which included our legal department, our own operations and maintenance division, our safety officer leading that program, to get together to create this digital site. The site is now up and running. We do have a QR code, which you see here on the screen, and there's a link there too. And basically, it's a pretty simple process. Once a potential customer or requester wants sediment, they'll scan the code and it will take them to the following screen. Next slide, please. It'll be a site where you'll get simple questions like this one right here. If you're an individual or corporate business or farmers, you'll start filling this out. Next slide. It'll ask you for basic contact information. You'll fill this out, and it's that simple. Next slide. Now your sediment agreement is on record, and the next step is where our supervisors, will reach out to the requester or the customer and begin coordinating the logistics of picking up the sediment. Now, we don't have unlimited resources, so this is a very important part, since if the requester has the means to pick up the sediment, they would coordinate with the area supervisor, respectively, if either Las Cruces, El Paso, or Hancock, and proceed to pick up the sediment based on a schedule, on an agreed schedule. Now, there's also the option of us delivering that sediment to the requester, considering distance and the resources available. At the end of the day, we do want to get rid of that excess sediment. So we'll do our best to accommodate you if you need that sediment to the best of our abilities. Next slide, please. So for our fiscal year 24, our main strategy is to do outreach. And part of our outreach is we're going to start with basic items such as posting signs on our field offices. Next slide. Our yards. Next slide. And our sediment stockpiles itself. And tailgates on our vehicles will add the decal where they can, and we can stop on this slide. Thank you, Felipe. And all that combined with social media and forums such as this one, just to reach out to the public and let them know that there's free sediment out there. And basically, it'll be a win-win scenario when either a contractor is trying to need sediment or a resident. It'll help us get rid of the excess sediment, and it'll help you too since it's free of charge. And yeah, we will continue to work with our public affairs office in promoting this through, for example, X, formerly known as Twitter, and other means available. And I'm asking all of you if you can help us share our QR code. You hopefully will have our presentation available to everyone where they can grab the QR code. Next slide. And there's the code again. And I'll take any questions at this point. Thank you for your time.
Yes, this is Sal Masood. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
The question, I have facilitated this service, and as a developer in El Paso, we had a project right next to the levee, close to Borderland and Donovan, and we had delivery of the sediments to our project, and we put it to good use. Is there any plans or any budget that might be allocated to have possibly better delivery or faster delivery of the sediments?
One of the good news is that recently we have our commissioner pushed hard to get us all the field offices much needed equipment. So, and also vacancies as far as field staff is concerned and additional heavy equipment. So having said that, it'll help us with this process as far as delivering more efficiently the sediment. It is a program in its beginning stages, and we will coordinate with you and do our best to facilitate that sediment to you. And in one of the instances, for example, there's been the cases where we team up with a requester, and let's say they have dump trucks available, but they don't have a loader. We'll use our loader to load your dump trucks and try to work with you. But yes, to answer your question, it's going to look better in FY24 since we are getting additional heavy equipment.
Okay. That does answer it in a way. I do actually attend a monthly developers focus meeting at the city of El Paso that it gets good attendance from most of the developers in this area. And if anybody's going to need good quantities of that sediment, it would be the developers when they develop in the valley areas that need fill. But whenever I mention it, then they say that the operation can be very slow. It's it cannot go as fast as we need it to go. That's the only trouble.
Yeah, and what I would say to that, at the end of the day, it is sediment free of charge, right?
Yes.
So that's the bright side, and we would like to get rid of it faster ourselves too. We cannot get rid of it soon enough ourselves. Every year we have to prioritize, and right now that's what's going to help us next year. It's just additional heavy equipment, but of course we're looking forward to see how we can make the process more efficient and faster.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the audience?
I have a question. This doesn't relate directly to your talk, but how much do you get sediment from above Leesburg Dam? Whenever I look above the dam, it always seems as though it's just about brim full. How low, how much sediment do you take, and how low do you dig down above that dam so that the sediment isn't real near the top?
And I apologize. I'm still getting to know the area. Leesburg is it north of? Is that in Earthendom?
So the Leesburg area, that section, we haven't actually got to it yet. It does have a buildup of sediment that I understand what you're talking about, and hopefully we're to address that this year or within the next year and a half at the very least. So normally when the crews go in there to do that, our survey team will allow us the information to show us the design capacity and what it needs to be down to. So we don't go too far and we try to maximize the amount that we get out.
And I'll personally be going to the Leesburg area after this to check it out and ensure that, because like I said, we don't have the resources we have every year. We need to be shifting our priorities to address areas where the most sediment has been accumulated and address it that way. But like I said, we're getting more equipment and more people, so we should be able to better off in FY24 to address more areas, and definitely we'll be looking at Leesburg. Thank you, sir.
Other questions? Anyone else up here? All right, thank you all very much. Thank you, David. That was a good presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, we are very much ahead of schedule today. We're heading into the public comment part of the meeting. And there were no requests for public comment made prior to the meeting today. But if anyone has anything they'd like to speak about, if you're on the Zoom meeting, please raise your hand. Or if anyone up here on the live event wants to say anything, now's your chance. Erin?
Let's see. Let me see. Okay, I think I figured out how to mute myself.
You're
Here.
good.
All right. Yeah, technological whiz here. I do have a question, and it's sheer curiosity. I travel along the 375 loop along what they used to call the border highway, right along the border with Mexico. Routinely, I drive that section of 375 maybe 2 to 3 times a week. So I get a pretty good weekly assessment of activity, migrant crossings, and the work that's being done on the levees where people are working. And I was curious as to whether the so-called migrant crisis has had any impact on IBWC, either both sides, either the Mexican side or the US side, in maintaining the levees. Because sometimes there's large groups of migrants kind of gathered at the levees. And I'm just wondering if that's become an issue.
Good question.
So to answer your question, Yes, it does impact us because there's a safety factor involved there. We don't want, of course, we don't want anybody getting hurt, personnel, and as far as bystanders. We also deal with people, stakeholders like CBP, Border Patrol, now Texas National Guard and Texas DPS. So that's kind of put a significant impact on our operations. So from the field office standpoint, we try to get in and do the work as quickly and safely as we possibly can. And if we can, we try to avoid being in that area just to avoid the cross interaction, to avoid mitigating or creating an unsafe environment.
What do the levees look like on the Mexican side, since I can't really see them from the roadway anymore? Are they being maintained too on the Mexican side? Because I think the crowds I've seen are more on the Mexican side.
From the areas that I've seen, they do maintain it, as well as us. We get in there when we need to. If it's a real big safety concern, we address it at the time. If it's something that we feel that we need to, we'll reach out to our Mexican counterparts, SILA, which is the Mexican section, and we'll coordinate with them to let them know of the hazard or the concern, and they'll work to get a contractor, or they'll have their crews take care of it.
Okay. Yeah. It's embarrassing to ask about the levees when there are people involved, but I was just concerned, I was just, curious, actually. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Woody, would you like to ask your question?
Yes, I don't know if this is the right time to ask this or later on, but I was just curious about the salt cedar beetle, what happened to them, and can we get a presentation on the salt cedar beetle? Are they planning on reintroducing them or not?
I know at a couple of meetings ago that was a topic that was brought up. Me personally, I don't have any information on that. I don't know if anybody else in the meeting might have any information on that. But if not, that's something that we could take back to our headquarters office and see if we can get you guys an answer on that.
Okay, thank you.
Aaron, did you have another question? Your hand is up.
No, I'm good. Thank you. I forgot to take my hand down. I'm sorry.
Well, I couldn't tell if it was
In
still
fact,
the
I
same hand.
keep clicking and it won't go down. So
That's
just
okay.
ignore me, I guess. Okay, thanks.
Hey, Sal, would you like to ask your question?
Yes, indeed. I wanted to see if anybody can give us just a quick update on the work with Odin on the levies, and if there's any projected dates of completion. And I had requested that we keep an item on the agenda that would keep information coming to us regarding the progress of the accreditation of the levies and the progress of working with FEMA toward that, since FEMA more than likely will have these new maps, or not new maps, the maps that were issued in 2020. They probably will issue them for sure and put them to make them effective by end of 2024. Yeah.
I think I can take that as Saul. Thank you for the question. So right now, for the project that Odin is working on, it's a construction division that is managing that contract, the construction contract. Sunland Park East Levy, I think the construction is scheduled to end in March of 2025. So work is ongoing on that one. We're still waiting on the as-built for the Sunland Park West. Once we get it, we'll submit those documents to FEMA. Another project that we are working on is in the rectification reach. FEMA had agreed to provisionally accredit the levee from International Dam to Zaragoza Bridge. And there was a segment from Zaragoza Bridge to Riverside Weir. That is a 1 mile segment there for which the levee had to be rehabbed. So that work is ongoing on that 1 mile segment. The design is currently at the 90% stage. And once the design is complete, since it is at the 90% stage, we anticipated it would get complete in the coming months. Once the design is complete, then the project has to go to construction. The project is not scheduled to go for construction into FY 2024. That is, in the period up to September 30th. Most likely, we have to see if we have funds, and then it may go for construction in 2025. So that's the status on that. And once the construction is complete, then we can submit those documents also to FEMA, and the entire reach from International Dam to Riverside Weir can get accredited. Then at the same time, we have an ongoing modeling project starting from Percha Dam all the way to American Dam. Because as David explained, there is sediment accumulation that is occurring from the arroyos at various locations, and our operations and maintenance division work very hard to get rid of as much sediment as they can, depending upon the budget available. But this modeling study is looking at the current topography and then running storms of different magnitudes, including the 100-year. And once that modeling is complete, we'll have an idea of what the existing condition water surface elevations are and where sediment has to be removed. One of the things that we are also looking through this modeling is taking a look at the latest LiDAR surface and comparing it with previous topography, so we can actually measure how much of sediment accumulation has taken place. This modeling study is at the 60% stage, and we are working with the contractor on a modification to the contract to use some additional calibration data. So that's where it is.
Well, thank you very much. Answering the question, I can pretty much not keep up with all that, but I'm trying to make sure that the areas or the segments that does get constructed and completed, that will move on to the accreditation process right away. So that leads me to another question. When you mentioned that the work on the Sunland Park West is almost complete or completed, when do you think, can you forecast or can you estimate a time, how fast will that get accredited by FEMA or accepted?
Once we submit the documents, then it is up to FEMA. They may take a few months to complete their review and the accreditation. We have been waiting on the as-builts, and I'll check back with the construction division on the status of the as-builts.
So in US, it would be months or a year, or what do you think?
I would say months. I'm just making an estimate over here.
Okay. Thank you so much, Rita. Thank you.
Thank you, Sal.
Thank you for that question, Sal. And we definitely want to move that topic forward and keep up to date on that as it unrolls. Thank you. Any other questions? Any other topics anyone would like to put out there? Any other comments from the board? We do want to think of some really good topics for future agenda items. And so, let's think about that, and please get back with the IBWC. I believe Leslie, did they reach out to you if they have any topics of concern?
Hi, Brenda. This is Leslie. Can I make a quick announcement?
Absolutely, please do.
First of all, we sincerely apologize. We are still stuck in traffic, trying to get to the meeting. So my sincere apologies that we were not able to make it, and thank you for everybody that was there. I did want to just point out that today was the last formal meeting with the current sitting board of the Upper Rio Grande Citizens Forum. The application period for the next board will open on Monday. I will send out an email to everybody on our mailing list with the application and a link to the application on our website as well. So anybody that is interested in continuing to be a board member can reapply. And please, if you know anybody that would be interested in joining our Citizens Forum board, please feel free to forward that email or providing them the link to the application on the website. I believe the next meeting wouldn't be scheduled until January of 2024, and that would be welcoming a new board. So just a note on that. I know that during the pandemic, we had extended the term for a year, and those board members served a 3-year term, but we are returning to a 2-year term with 3 meetings per year, hybrid format as well. So I just wanted to make sure that I let everybody know that. And again, my sincere apologies that we were not able to make it.
Well, I hope you get home safely, you all who are stuck out there. As Leslie mentioned, the next meeting will be January 18th, 2024. Can you believe we're already at 2024? 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. and it will be a hybrid meeting in El Paso at the headquarters. And again, if you have any suggestions for agenda items or future talks you'd like to hear about, let's get those over to Leslie and have a really good meeting in January. Just one last time, does anyone have anything more they'd like to share with us, or any topic of concern, questions? Well, if not, I guess we can adjourn until next time. Everybody be safe and happy and healthy and take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, y'all.
Bye, Sal. I expected a few more people.